Our module 3 addresses user needs and preferences. You have indicated that you cope with churn by increasing or decreasing home office and mobile working as needed. Do you check whether the space your employees use to work from home is suitable to meet employees' physical, functional, and psychological needs? And if yes, how do you do this?
So we definitely do, and most so we did it, and we've been doing through this unprecedented time. So where we had the chance to actually look into how people were working during the COVID experience, considering that 95% of Vodafone employees across the globe were working from home. And we definitely are looking into the physical working environment. So we are now setting up with our purchase department a package that people can pick up from in terms of chairs or sit to stand desks that can be provided if needed. Of course, again, it's a matter of flexibility and of choice, because not everybody has the space to allocate those furniture, and other employees actually perhaps may have a proper studio, so to say. So the needs are very different as well. In terms of functional and psychological aspects, again, COVID has, from COVID, we've learned a lot. And we've learned also to understand how to set up regular checks and being able to talk to people to make sure that in terms of psychological expression and relation with others, we keep up in the right productive and effective way. In terms of ability to concentrate and communicate, as I said, to set up the space model for the future physical working environment, it's very important that we capture people needs or the needs of those people that can't actually for any reason concentrate at home, and we give them the option to come into the office, and we are factoring this quantity into the layouts and space model. And I would say that this comes all through the service that we are carrying out. I've already mentioned in the previous module the Pulse survey, and then on the physical space to capture those aspects, we just issued actually a very specific survey on the space, which covers both the physical working environment, the ability to concentrate, and the mental well-being too.
Yeah, great. From the list of the psychological needs, you indicated social interaction to be the most important one. Why do you think this need is more important than, for instance, privacy, autonomy, and relaxation? There are also among the other psychological needs.
So I think social interaction, actually, and now I would reply differently from what I did previous to COVID experience. And I would say that social interaction or collaboration and actually co-creation is very important, and it is part, as I said, of our spirit. So we like to do things together and to create together. Therefore, it's very important that we understand which is the best environment that can facilitate this sort of collaborative way of working. And I would say that when you allow in your physical space social interaction, then you foster innovation as well. I think best ideas come when actually you share your experiences and you have the opportunity to meet people and casually talk about stuff. In terms of privacy and autonomy, as I said, I would actually change not the balance, but consider as much collaboration and privacy at the same level, which doesn't mean that you dedicate the same amount of space. So the proportion of the two space might be different, but still it's very important to make sure that people can come into the office if at home they don't have the right amount of privacy, or they feel like they can't relaxate and therefore they can't be effective.
Yeah, it's interesting that you highlighted this like collaborative atmosphere that you try to create and to foster, because you also indicated that you involve some employees or some groups of employees in the brainstorming and conceptualization process for future workplace interventions. And also as ambassadors in the implementation process. So could you explain how you do this in both the phases of conceptualization and implementation?
Yes, very gladly. So we do the first one, which is actually brainstorming and conceptualization process, comes from a series of interviews that we do before the design kicks off. So basically, we usually interview the senior leadership team members to have an overview on the vision and the strategy of the company. We then do working sessions and working groups with employees, less senior employees, to understand what is their way of seeing the working environment. Once we do this, we then pull together a concept, which is the first stage of the design, and we then proceed within the second stage. For the second stage, we work closely still with the end users, and we ask to the end users to have a number of representative in percentage, of course, of the number of people that we are setting up the working environment for. And with them, we check each phase of the design and make sure that we covered what was initially planned. How we then verify the satisfaction of the workplace? We use the Workplace Satisfaction Index, or what we call the Post-Occupancy Satisfaction Index, which we carry out the moment we move into the new space, and then after more or less 6 months or a year or so. I can show you a presentation of one of the workshops that we did for the layout that I presented before. So as I said, we do gather with people and engage with end users to build up the high-level concept. You see here which is the process. So as I said, we engage with the stakeholders, which are the senior leadership team members, and we do understand the vision. In this case, it was the third floor. Then we gather with the less senior level. We had 22 attendees in the workshop. And once we gather their opinions and their view of the space, then we modify or we do the space planning and we go back to them. So we usually do rules. We usually carry out some games. In this case, it was mainly to make people aware of the space and understand which are the spaces that they needed within the layout and the given, of course, square meters that we had and the people we had to accommodate. This is the outcome we had from the 3 teams that attended the workshop. And what we do usually is find a compromise or better analyze communalities and differences and deep dive into the differences. As you can see, there is a clear will to have a more collaborative space straight at the center of the layout. The second, then the third stage, it's do the space planning and to start working on the proper design. So that's it from a workshop perspective and how we engage people into our design process.
Sure. That's great. I think that this is a wonderful support for the technical teams that are dealing with the project, the architectural design project. And of course, this is also a great way to start engaging the employees and making them feel really part of the whole thought around design and management process of the workplace.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, Mirna. This was a great and inspiring answer to our question, and see you soon.
Thank you.